We are here for the first streamed game of Day 2 of the 2022 Division 1 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships here at Bob Dean's Field in sunny Christchurch. My name is Blair Monroe and we're about to go for the opening toss between Huripari and Marvellous DC S.W.O.R.D. Of this exciting match between the top two seeded teams in their pool, Marvellous DC S.W.O.R.D based out of Auckland and Huripari based out of Wellington. I'm here with the very beautiful, inimitable, the leggy lefty, Peter Boardman. Pete, how do you think you're going to go today?
Yeah, I think we're pretty confident in our abilities, and I think we've got a pretty strong game, and we match up well with Huripari. So I'm confident in our ability to come out strong on this game.
Perfect. And you had a really impressive performance yesterday. Was it 3-0 yesterday? Yeah. We had
3 really good games. Definitely came out pretty strong, and good start to the tournament.
Perfect. And then that's the thing, right? You're coming up against another undefeated team, and somebody's O has got to go. What do you think are going to be the biggest touch points for this game in terms of S.W.O.R.D, in terms of things you want to work on, things you're maybe most concerned about in terms of how you're going to match up against Huripari?
Yeah, look, they're a really, really strong team. However, we know they've got some big shooters on there who like to throw even in high risk situations. So I think a big part of that will be forcing those issues, forcing those turns, and then making sure that we just don't give it back. I think consistency is going to be a really huge part of our game today, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That sounds like a really good game plan. And we are only moments away from seeing whether or not the game's going to unfold exactly as Mr. Boardman has described. So best of luck to you. Cool. And we'll see you in the next one.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels.
Yeah, mate, always.
Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us
Pete, you're amazing!
Hey, thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
And we are only moments away now from the opening pull, the first game in our stream coverage for the second day of the 2022 New Zealand Division 1 Mixed Ultimate Championships. As always, my name is Blair Monroe, and it is a privilege and a pleasure to be here with ULTI.TV, to be your eyes and ears on the ground for this exciting game between Huripari, based out of Wellington, and marvelous DC S.W.O.R.D, based out of Auckland. What an exciting tournament we've had so far, to see such hotly contested games, so evenly matched teams, some really tight scorelines. What twisted mathematical mind, what cruel genius came up with a draw this good to give us so many fantastic evenly matched games on stream. Modesty might prevent him from saying so, but I do know who came up with the draw. One David Aloysius Jackson Nee Farris, joining us for our sideline camera here at Bob Deans Field in Christchurch. Huripari, a team name taken from the dog of one of their former players, meaning many spirals, and that is the question: will they be like the proverbial hurricane, or will they be stuck like dogs chasing their tails? Nicholas Whitlock to field early to Broughton, as we see Shield go down in a zone, but the long shot gets sent away anyway, looking for Zoe Reisner in the deep space. Just a little bit overthrown there. So an early turn and an opportunity for S.W.O.R.D to come back firing. Crosby and Yo available as resets, but a pick's been called. Yo wide open in space. His Broughton's ability to follow his defender impeded by the positioning of another player. So Ultimate, for those watching at home, is a self-officiated sport. Players take it upon themselves to learn the rules, to make calls and resolve them on the field between themselves. Boardman Yo sends a big shot up, looking for Crosby, covered by Hoban. Crosby goes early, but doesn't come down with it. Looks like a call has been made. So some additional information for those watching at home. It's a non-contact sport, but players will just have a conversation as to what impact that contact had on the play. Nicholas Whitlock, number 39 for Huripari, joining in as the spirit captain. And we'll call that a strip. So Crosby, the argument being that he had control of the disc in the first instance, and that contact knocked it out. We're going to get to see that again. He goes up early, and looks like that will have been a strip. And so accepting that foul means that the point will stand. MDC S.W.O.R.D up by 1 over Huripari 3 minutes into the first game of our schedule today. A great early opportunity for S.W.O.R.D. A quick break to start off the game. Coming down on defense, allowing a nice deep shot. It was overthrown to Reisner, who was the head coach of Equilibrium, playing in last week's Division 2 Mixed Ultimate Championships. Supported by Peter Hoban, who some have called the second best coach in Wellington. But a player with a very long and storied Ultimate career. Fantastic pedigree on the field. Great Frisbee awareness, and we're hopefully going to see that really come to shine in this game this morning. Ireland with the pull for S.W.O.R.D. Player with a reputation in her own right. Nicholas Whitlock on an upline cut mark by Yo, but manages to get the disc on the far sideline. Not a lot of wind, not a lot of pressure at the moment. Hoban with a quick offset. Finds McAdam. Back around to Pickering, to Whitlock again. Whitlock, the blue bomber with a big hammer. And a beautiful score finds Aston open in the end zone. To the surprise of no one, Whitlock being willing to uncork a hammer so early in the game, particularly when conditions are very, very stable. There's not going to be a lot of interference. Huge, big, over the top. Wide open Becca Aston for a great score. We've seen Nicholas Whitlock do similar things in his tenure at AUUC Flood a couple of years ago. And with his height and reach, it's just such a hard throw to stop. You can be quite agile left to right, horizontally staying on the ground to try and stop his pivots between forehand and backhand. But with his just sheer reach and range, that hammer is something you're going to have to jump to stop. And the moment you take your feet off the ground, that's when you're giving up an option for a different throw. So very, very hard player to mark, a very, very hard player to pressure. Yo doing a great job, though, forcing those lower percentage throws. Reisner with the disc for the pull. Huge, big rip. Slowly fading towards the far sideline. Fielded by Crosby, centers to Boardman. Goes around, finds Stevenson, marked by Hoban. Swinson goes wide. Bounces off Charlesworth to Boardman. Boardman with a big left. Forehand. A lot of pressure from Danielle Paul, but it is not going to be enough. Huge score there. We'll see that again. Little shift, big left hand for S.W.O.R.D. Plenty of separation, well reeled in. Holly Mace with the score. A player so fast in the deep space, we needed the super slow replay just to catch the number on the back of her shirt. But fantastic work by S.W.O.R.D to trade so far. We had one early break, and now it's 2 holds apiece. Or 2 holds total, rather, 1 hold apiece. Lee Yo with the pull, dedicating that one to Maddie Hayward. Skims off the ground, bounces into the hands of Whitlock, working with Broughton to quickly shift the disc 15 or so meters upfield. Drives to the far sideline. Uncorks a huge forehand, looking for McAdam over Crosby, comes down with it. That is exactly what we wanted to see. Great performance there, just great patience, nice disc control, recognizing the conditions are very, very stable. It's safe to uncork some of those longer options. Trusting the legs on your receiver to just power past the defender and have the space and the awareness and the vision to reach up and pluck those ones out of the sky. We're going to get to see that again. Great work by McAdam to pull that one down. Pete Hoban with the disc for the pull. The score currently 2-all. The defensive line for Huripari with a big chase. High pull, plenty of time for the defense to get set underneath. We are looking to see a zone defense by the looks. Got a few of the MDC players stretching the field a little bit, currently unmarked. Though it looks like they might just be taking their time getting set up, moving to more of a tight match defense as the disc is bricked to center field. Swanson tries to shut down Stevenson, but it's not going to be there. Charlesworth in the deep space. Call on a hand block. Call is retracted. Great work by number 56, Tara O'Connor, already streaking to the deep space. Getting a touch on the disc before it leaves, as it leaves Charlesworth's hand. Hoban chasing it down. Sun not in a position to stop it. The forehand goes up. Easily reeled in by Aston. Huripari go up and take the lead. That's Aston's second score of the game. Some great work there by Huripari. We get to see that again. Hoban on the sideline. Sun not able to put the pressure on in time. Uncorks a big forehand, rolling back towards the center of the field for a great score for Huripari. Reisner with the pull again for Huripari. Sending it long towards the near sideline. Touches down just out of bounds. Boardman gives the signal to Brick, so there's no positional advantage conferred to the defense by having the disc fall out of bounds. The first touch out of bounds gives S.W.O.R.D the opportunity to bring it back to a point 18 meters in front of their own end zone in the middle of the field. Stevenson going deep. Hogg and Aldridge looking to shut down that long option. Has to reset to Crosby. Stevenson gets it wide on the near sideline. Marked by the long arms of Nick Whitlock. Stevenson forced to reset back to Crosby. Pressured by the big man Hogg. Goes wide to sideline. For Tessa Swinson. Pinned down by Pickering. Crosby on an upline, but it's touched away by Nick Whitlock. A man happy to put stats on the board to pick up and initiate. Has to go over the top to Aldridge. Great chase down by Boardman, but it's not going to be enough. Aldridge swings back to Whitlock. Finds Aldridge again, far sideline. Pickering's going deep, but it's not an option. Not able to get it away in time. Whitlock fires one away for Aldridge in the end zone. Tumbles out of his hands. Possession going back to S.W.O.R.D. Huripari applying that pressure defense. Boardman to Crosby. Close in their own end zone. A dangerous place to be. They put a big shot up looking for Stevenson. Hogg slowly closes in. Stevenson uncorks one. Reisner's underneath it. Turn, possession goes back to Huripari. Pickering as a reset, doesn't get looked through. Aldrich in the midfield goes around the mark of Crosby to Hogg to Whitlock near sideline. Puts a big shot up looking for Reisner again. Crosby's underneath it. Reisner's got the read. Huripari for the score. Some great work. The little cheeky signal for bookends. Both touches, first and last, of that possession for Huripari by Zoe Reisner. There's a reason that the team at Equilibrium call her number one coach. Really putting in the work for the Huripari side today. Some beautiful performance by the team in black here. Some really great long options. And just that trust in the receivers to get open, to have that space and to really eat those long shots up. So currently up by 2. Considering that both of these teams currently sitting at 3-0, so far undefeated in this game, it's pretty tense. Neither of these teams wants to give up that undefeated record. So timeout has been called, I'm assuming by S.W.O.R.D, just to recognize that Huripari have a little bit of momentum and we need to sort of slow that down. There's the bookends for Reisner. And we will be back shortly after this timeout to continue this match. And we are back not too far from the from continuing this game after this first timeout. The score currently, Huripari 4, MDC S.W.O.R.D 2. Both teams breaking the huddle, sending 7 players out to take the field. Huripari once again to come out on defense. Yo, Charlesworth, Ireland, Stevenson, Gibson for DC. Paul, Neil, Hoban, Whitlock. For Huripari. Huge pull from Mara Neal for Huripari to start off this point, going deep into the end zone. Fielded by Yo to Ireland, back to Yo. Great aggression on the defense from Huripari. But it's not enough to slow them down. Ireland puts one up and high. The Birdman comes down with it. Finds Owen Sun, swings wide to the far sideline. To Kate Charlesworth, back to Ireland, back around to Charlesworth, right on the doorstep, hoping to put another point on the board, puts a big hammer up, finds Yo, wide open. Swanson slowly closes in the mark, but finds Ireland to Gibson on the far sideline. Around, just outside the hands of Ireland. A little surprising not to see a layout from her to keep that one in possession, but the disc goes back to Huripari. Whitlock's got it, marked by Sun, uncorks it. Yo's underneath it, but chased by Hoban. Great defensive pressure there, great positioning by Yo. Amazing closing speed by Pete Hoban, but he's not able to come down with it. Bender threatening the deep space for MDC. Sitting off the left shoulder of Whitlock. Trying to test the far sideline as Yo, Stevenson, Ireland work through. Neal with a layout to stop Charlesworth, getting the disc. Huripari right on the doorstep. Whitlock to slowly approach. He's got a deep bag of throws. Decides to reset early to Hoban, back to Whitlock. Huge fakes. Gets a bit out of Yo, creates a hole. It's not available. Goes deep with the overhead to O'Connor for the score. Huripari up by 3. A beautiful scuba right over the top to an unmarked Tara O'Connor. An absolutely fantastic player. Amazing stamina on the field, constantly getting separation from a defender. Really quick to pressure that deep space. Always moving, always a threat. Huge layout block there, which is exactly what Huripari needed to secure that one. Great work. And there it is. Huge fake to shift Yo, hoping to hit Neil at the top corner. Doesn't come away. The defense closing in, but leaving a gap right at the back corner of the end zone. And as Yo gets back to his feet, Whitlock decides to go over the top for a beautiful score and a 3-point lead. Whitlock with a monster pull. The Blue Bomber lets it rip deep into the end zone to be fielded by Yo. Boardman working with Yo. Yo discouraged from uncorking one. Finds Ian Stewart. Marked by Thornton. Has to go for an easy reset to Yo. Pushes to the far sideline for Crosby. Pressured by McAdam. Closes in. A little spin up line. Tries to drive the far sideline, looking for Boardman, but Whitlock comes out of nowhere and shuts that down. Great defensive vision there. Broughton to pick up and initiate on the far sideline around the halfway mark, so 32 meters away from a score. Marked by Yo. Thornton with a great undercut, wide open. Gets the separation from Stewart. Tests the defense a little bit, but it's Whitlock who comes up with it. Far sideline, looking for a reset now. Crosby trying to occupy that space, finds Thornton near sideline, winds up the hammer. Stewart takes to the skies, but it's just a bluff. McAdam center field marked by Crosby, back to Thornton, 0-0. Rolling them bones, finds Whitlock near sideline, marked by Boardman, threads one through the middle of the defense, goes over the top. Assist Thornton, score Whitlock. Huripari up by 4. Back-to-back-to-back breaks. This is an amazing performance that we are seeing here from the Wellington side. Huripari doing a fantastic performance here. Very, very few errors from the team playing out of the dark kit. To be fair, we're not seeing many errors from S.W.O.R.D, but what we are seeing is windows that are a little bit wider, a little bit more open to exploitation by the Huripari side. They have come to win. They do not want to give up that unbroken record for this tournament so far. Assistant coach Charles Patterson, number 5 for MDC S.W.O.R.D. Currently undergoing rehabilitation, so we're looking forward to seeing him come back strong in the next mixed season after an unfortunate injury suffered during his Wildcats Worlds campaign. But just having his presence on the field alone has a pretty big impact on the team's morale. McAdam with the pull. Once again, the secure hands of Yo. Receive that early. Looking for Boardman center field. Marked by Aldrich, but it's the over-the-top backhand. Yo on the near sideline. Crossfield hammer to Stevenson. Ireland's going deep. Bender's looking for an option. Pressured early, a little bit of hesitation. Goes back, finds Stevenson. Threads one up to Yo. Another crossfield hammer, finds Boardman. Near side to Ireland, another crossfield hammer to Stevenson for the score. MDC S.W.O.R.D. Maybe they should change their name to MDC Hammer. Some great work there, having to go crossfield over the top of the aggressive Huripari defense, recognizing that their safe ultimate they were playing in the first several points was not giving them the security that they needed to. And so they've had to change a few things up. Maybe trust their height. Recognize that the conditions for those overheads are quite stable and they become higher percentage options without wind. So as we saw in a few games yesterday, as the wind started to pick up, those overhead shots, they expose a lot more face of the disc to the wind. When you've got a cross breeze, it tends to push the disc a little bit more than you'd be expecting. It's really hard to dial those in. But without those conditions, we might as well be throwing them indoors. So Huripari to send out their offensive line for the first time in a little while. Still up by 3, 2 points away from half in this game to 15. Mace with the pull, sends it long towards the far sideline. Touches down just out of bounds. Whitlock will bring the disc back to the brick mark. Again, 18 meters in front of the end zone. Huripari looking to set up in a vertical stack, trying to create 2 channels along the near and far sidelines for their defense, downfield players rather, to attack. And we are seeing a marvelous DC zone, but goes right through to find Aldrich. Bouncing the disc off Paul, back to Aldrich, back to Neil. Finds Whitlock, far sideline, back to Neil again. Comes wide to find Aldridge. Reisner calling for it as she attacks the back end of the zone, but it goes back to Neil, back to Whitlock. Paul optioning for a reset, a high angle blade looking for Aldridge. It's brought down beautifully. Fantastic work by Huripari to bring it back to a 4-point lead. 7-3, 1 point away from taking half. Huripari have come out firing. We are not seeing the usual intensity from this S.W.O.R.D side. We will see how they perform after half, or whether or not they're able to make those adjustments now to really claw back the margin that Huripari are so set on widening with every possession. An absolute corker of an outside in, high angle forehand from Whitlock to find Aldrich. Wide open in the end zone. Recognizing that again with these conditions, those options become higher percentage shots. Recognizing that DC were throwing down a zone defense, looking to give up some of those interpersonal matchups in exchange for covering space and covering vulnerable areas on the field. But when you've got a thrower like the Blue Bomber on the field, it's a lot harder to close everything off when you've got such a deep bag of throws, a lot of experience, a lot of control over the disc. There are windows available to the thrower that the defender might not recognize as threats. Reisner again with the pull. Sends it long. Deep into the end zone, but Yo is able to quickly bounce it forward to Boardman. Finds Ireland, far sideline, marked by Hubin. A big left-handed backhand. Crosby's going to chase it down.
Thank you, Aria. Thank you, Aria.
Quick shout out to the disc manufacturers. Slightly weighted from the Discraft Ultra. And that carries a little bit towards the far sideline. Crosby in great position to reel it in, but if the fields are not wide enough, it's not gonna happen. And so as the disc never comes back in bounds, that's going to be a turnover. Looks like a timeout has been called by the offense. Huripari, maybe an opportunity to set up a called play here, something with a bit more structure to really settle themselves in and close this point out and take an early half. We are a 100-minute point cap game. We are just about 30 minutes in. Huripari very close to taking out the first half of the game. A crucial timeout call here. And a huge moment for marvelous DC S.W.O.R.D, who need to abandon the offensive namesake and really focus on what they're going to do to stop the unstemmable tide of Huripari's offense.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
And so only moments away from what could be the last point of this half, depending on how Huripari, first to break the huddle, decide to structure their offense. Looking at about 45 meters away from their end zone. Almost every player on this Huripari side has a throw of that range. Doubly so those who typically anchor the handler offense, those players in the upfield or backfield space, the ones who are responsible most for securely distributing the disc backwards and forwards until those downfield cutters are able to develop a great option once they get that separation and are open for a score. And in that downfield, we see some really, really solid players for the Huripari side. Nicky Bodis with the modus. Hamish Thornton, Zoe Reisner, Becca Aston, and Michael McAdam. Any one of those in a position to really power through their matchup and close this half out. O'Connor to have the disc and initiate. Marked by Bender. Hubin on an upline cut. McAdam streaks deep. Gets an overbid from Yo. Creates a little bit of space, but not able to capitalize on it. O'Connor puts one up, looking for Hubin again. Puts a massive shot up, looking for Aston for a third time, but she's not going to come out on top. Boardman able to seal that one up. Ireland to Yo. Puts a big shot up over the top of Bender, but she's got the read. Nice toe drag to keep that one in bounds. The long arms of Reisner are able to shut down the upline cut by Ireland, just closing off that channel. Bender's not able to keep that reset alive from Yo as the throw goes a little bit awry. Thornton and Bodis in the upfield space. Bodis with a high around backhand to Hobin on the far sideline, making herself available as a reset, almost unmarked. To Reisner to Hobin. Not too far from the red zone now. Reisner being given the signal to move. Shakes free of Bender, gets the disc. Aston with a great cut, trying to find separation from Dolan, but it doesn't come away. It's not a viable option. Puts the big high forehand up, looking for Hobin for the score. Has it in hand. Huripari to take half. Yo giving up on the chase a little bit. The reputation of Peter Hobin as a deep receiver preceding him. Such a threat, but we will get to see that again, I hope. Either way, that concludes the first half of this exciting match. The top two seeded teams in their poll, MDC, S.W.O.R.D, and Huripari based out of Wellington. What a fantastic performance. We're going to get to see that beautiful toe drag again. Great work by Bender to bring that one down. Throw goes just outside the hands of the receiver there. Hobin's got the separation there. Reisner uncorks one. Plenty of time. Hobin pulls that one down for the score as Huripari go up 8 over the marvelous DC S.W.O.R.D 3. That will conclude the first half of the first game of the second day of the 2022 Division 1 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships here at beautiful Bob Dean Fields in sunny Christchurch. My name, as always, is Blair Monroe, proudly supported by the team at ULTI.TV. Head on over to patreon.com/ULTI.TV if you like what you're watching. Little donation goes a long way in terms of bringing you the very best Ultimate in New Zealand, Australia, and all around the world. We will be back for the second half of this match very shortly. And we are back for the second half of the first match of our stream coverage on the second day of the 2022 Division 1 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships here at beautiful Bob Deans Field in sunny Christchurch. Huripari 8 to MDC S.W.O.R.D 3. A fantastic first half by the team playing out of Wellington. Some amazing defense, really good patience on offense, doing a fantastic job picking apart the S.W.O.R.D team so far. It'll be interesting to see what adjustments, if any, the team from Auckland have made during that half-time to really come out and take back ownership of the second half of the game. Both teams currently undefeated. And as we said in our pre-match interview with Peter Boardman, somebody's O has got to go. Huripari to come out on defense this point for the first point of the half. We see Ian Stewart, president of New Zealand Ultimate, taking the field for the Sword side. Peter Boardman, Claire Gibson, Troy Stevenson, James Crosby. There will be a 4-male matchup point, which means that a male will be pulling. And so it looks like Nicholas Whitlock, the Huripari Hammer, going to send down a big pull. Monster pull comes up. Nice amount of float. Touches down. Crosby takes a second to get into it. McAdams able to put the pressure on defense early. Boardman under pressure. Manages to go up and around. Back to Crosby. Charlesworth as a support. Not needed. Finds Mace to Stevenson. But the zone defense from Huripari is able to shut down that option. And so that zone defense from Huripari, we're also seeing an assassination. So McAdam, 21 for Huripari, really trying to shut down James Crosby as an option. Without that security reset of James Crosby, S.W.O.R.D able to throw it away. Possession goes back to Huripari. It's exactly what they need to come out firing in this in the second half. Whitlock again marked by Stewart. Stewart broken as the disc finds McAdam near sideline to Paul. Charlesworth applying pressure on the mark, trying to pin it down on the sideline. Whitlock gets it despite a great bid by Stevenson. Goes wide to find Hoban completely alone on the field. Huge layout from Peter Boardman to stop O'Connor getting the disc on a great undercut. Crosby has it now. Looks like they've switched back to a match defense possibly. Hogg pressuring the reset, but Mace comes through. Works the disc to Stevenson. Goes around, finds Boardman again, marked by Peter Hoban on the near sideline. Peter versus Peter. But the disc goes back to center field, finds Stevenson, goes up to the far sideline. Crosby, not too far from a score here, puts a big high forehand up. Looking for Charlesworth. Just outside her reach. A little bit of heartbreak for the MDC S.W.O.R.D side, giving the disc back to Huripari one more time to work back the long field towards their 9th point of the game. So Whitlock and Stevenson to face off, the two tallest players on the field. Hogg looking to pressure deep. Stewart not in a position. Peter Boardman home to get the read on defense, but Hogg, the big man, he goes up. And despite the impressive defensive pressure and Hogg in the space, it is Rebecca Pickering who comes down with it to reset to Hoban. Finds O'Connor, works around Mace to find Hoban on the far sideline. Stewart trying to shut down the reset. Great work as Pickering again gets a great touch. Goes back to Whitlock to McAdam, near sideline. Hoping to thread something through, but there's not enough space. Hoban to Pickering, far sideline. Hoban's got the separation, but Pickering doesn't yet have the throw. Paul with a huge outstretched grab. Danielle Paul, a great score for Huripari to take them to 9 over the MDC S.W.O.R.D 3. Hopefully we'll get to see that again. Such explosive work. Cutting across the front of the zone. Great outstretched hand to grab that one and toe tap in for the score. What an amazing performance by Danielle Paul there. We're going to get to see that again. Looked like all the bigs were getting involved, but it's Pickering who comes down with it. And as Gibson starts to apply the pressure, McAdam might have been an option, but safety is the call of the day. That little bit of security, that patience, sending them through. And a great little outside-in backhand for Danielle Paul to snatch up and put a point on the board for the Huripari side, bringing us to a 6-point lead. And now Thornton, Bodis, McAdam, Hogg, Aston, Reisner, Swanson for the Huripari defense. Yo, Sun. And there's a turn already. McAdam to pick up. Hogg on the near sideline, pressured by the long arms of Owen Sun. Great upline cut by McAdam as Stevenson has to pull out of a backpack in order to keep it clean. Lasers one through, but almost out of nowhere. S.W.O.R.D managed to generate the turn. Yo with the disc. Puts one up the line. Finds Swinson, marked by Reisner. Slightly underthrown. Crosby in great space, but backed off by Becca Aston. Reisner's got the separation. Bodis with the disc. Goes up line, looking to find McAdam. But a layout by Lee Yo to shut that one down. Owen Sun with the disc. Lee Yo with the disc, marked by Thornton. Sun as a reset option. Swinson on a great undercut near sideline, pressured by Reisner. Swanson applying pressure on the mark, forces a reset back to Yo to Stevenson. Great shot. Swinson pulls it in with one hand on the far sideline, pressured by Reisner. Great pressure by Swanson on the reset, generates a turn for Huripari, hoping to break double digits for the first time in the match. Reisner, centre field with the disc, marked by Swinson. Puts one through to Swanson, comes wide to Hogg. He's got the separation, goes up over the outstretched arms of Sun. Swanson's got the read. What a beautiful score as Huripari break double digits for the first time in the match. Up by 7 over MDC S.W.O.R.D. A fantastic showing so far from the Wellington side. And this is the point where we're going to see if any adjustments were made during that timeout. S.W.O.R.D on the back foot, 2 points so far. Huripari unanswered in this half. A strong favourite to win the tournament based on their performance, not only in pool play yesterday, but also in their match this morning. Whitlock, Reisner, O'Connor, Aldridge, Neal. Some really strong players on this Huripari defensive line. MDC S.W.O.R.D need to make a change if they want to keep a toe in this match. So far, a lot of great pressure on defense, particularly from players like Yo and Boardman, willing to put body on the line to generate those turns.
but somehow not able to convert, and Huripari are answering with consistency. Neil with an enormous pull, lands around the brick mark, fielded by Yo. Gibson as a comfortable reset. Pickering applying pressure on the defense. Goes wide, finds Ireland. The quick upline shot to Stewart, but a travel was called on that pass. And so a pick has been called. Things starting to get a little bit heated. Huripari currently walking away with the game. Boardman puts one up. Finds Ireland, who can't secure the continuation to Yo. Quick snapshot across to Reisner, back to Whitlock. Reisner unmarked. Calling for a little bit of movement from Whitlock to be a better position for the reset, but finds Hoban near sideline. Puts a big shot up, looking for Whitlock. There's wind underneath it, but so is Lee Yo. Whitlock comes down with it. Huripari 11 over MDC S.W.O.R.D 3. What a fantastic shot. And so we have 4 female matchups on each line for this point. MDC S.W.O.R.D looking a little bit flat in the second half. Almost as though they've already resigned themselves to defeat. That's not what we want to see in a match between two incredibly powerful, athletic and skilled teams. But the early momentum from Huripari really puts the damper on the MDC S.W.O.R.D fire. And an important reminder that Ultimate is as much a mental game as it is a physical one. While players work hard during the off-season to train and make sure their bodies are well conditioned, it's the team that's able to hold its temper, that's able to keep the tempo, the focus together, that's going to walk away with the victory in a match like this where the teams are reasonably evenly physically matched. O'Connor with the disc for the pull. Huge rip to put it deep towards the far sideline. But it's going to be bricked by Owen Sun. MDC coming out in a horizontal stack, so there will be 3 players in the upfield space. Stevenson, Stevenson, Sun, Boardman. And now downfielders, all ladies. So trusting the men to distribute the disc and holster those throws until those dominant ladies like Mace or Ireland are able to get separation. And we are seeing Huripari come down in his zone defense. Aldrich up front with the mark, supported by Broughton, trying to force the disc through the middle, but Boardman's able to get it. Back to Sun, back to Ireland. Troy Stevenson, near sideline. Goes back to Ireland. It's Aston and Aldrich on the mark now. They've switched back to a match defense. Stevenson has to go wide. Back to Boardman again. A very shifty, transition-y defense, moving between zone and match as the situation calls for it. But Tessa Swinson walks away with the score there for DC S.W.O.R.D, bringing it back to a 7-point game. About 45 minutes left on the clock. Huripari only 4 points away from a victory in this game to 15. Great threaded pass for the score. Just what DC S.W.O.R.D need to keep themselves in this game. But they will need 7 more of those to go back to being toe-to-toe and trading with the dominant Huripari in this match. Broughton, Reisner, Neal, McAdam, Whitlock, Hogg, Pickering on the field for the Huripari side. Stevenson, Crosby, Bender, Ireland, Charlesworth, James Crosby and Lee Yo for DC S.W.O.R.D. Yo with the pull. A bit of outside in, angles back towards the front. Far corner. Broughton to pick up early. Bounces off Whitlock, back to Whitlock. And Broughton, James Crosby a little out of position as DC really try and pressure a zone defense. Whitlock working patiently with Reisner, trying to get an option. Goes over the top to find McAdam. Up line for Reisner. Back to Whitlock and McAdam. Comes wide to Hogg. Broughton got it near sideline, trying to tire out the defense. Just trusting those offensive legs. McAdam. Back to Hogg. Far side. Back to Whitlock. Big hammer to Reisner. Broughton's in separation. Bender's not able to stop that. And Broughton with a great score over the bidding Bender. Huripari go to 12 over the MDC S.W.O.R.D 4. We're going to get to see that again. Bender letting Broughton get that first pass and giving full commitment on the second to try and shut down the score, but it's just not enough. The Whitlock hammer over top. Early step from Broughton. Back to Reisner. Broughton trying to pressure it. Great bid by Bender, but it's just out of reach. Huge effort on that score as Broughton walks it in to put another point on the board for the Huripari side. Once again, the Huripari hammer from the Big Blue Bomber. Opening up the defense, pressuring that zone, creating a great numbers mismatch in terms of where the offense was relative to the defense. If the defense gets out of position, if you're able to bust past that zone, either by going around and slowing it down or going over the top and having defenders behind the disc, once you're playing a game of 4v3, that continuation, that chip and give and go passing becomes a really, really effective tool, as we were just able to see Huripari work that disc up against an outnumbered defender who, despite giving everything, wasn't able to shut down the Huripari offense. So Huripari back on defense. Hamish Thornton with the disc for the pull. 0-0, about to throw them bones. Big send. It's going to fade a little back towards the far sideline. Nice amount of float. Touches down right beside the sideline. Hoban on the mark. We are going to see that zone defense from Huripari. Tyler Hogg, Mara Neal in the deep space. Big crossfield hammer. Touches out of the hands of Owen Sun. Exactly what Huripari want to take them within 2 of a victory. McAdam with the disc. Aston on a great undercut, but the reset goes to Mara Neal. Adam with great separation from Yo. Despite double coverage, is not going to be enough. O'Connor pulls that one down. What a major play. High fives all around. Tara O'Connor, another score on the board. The big hammer falls just short of Owen Sun's read. McAdam with a great grab. Despite the contact, finds O'Connor in the deep space. Sends one long. 13 points for Huripari against MDC S.W.O.R.D's 4. And an appropriate celebration from Tara O'Connor. Huge energy there on that to take Huripari 2 away from a victory. Still technically anybody's game, but MDC S.W.O.R.D have a much longer road to victory. And so the defensive line, Paul, Bodis, Whitlock, Reisner, Hoban, Swanson, and Pickering for Huripari. Stevenson, Dolan, Ireland, Charlesworth, Yo, and Boardman. And Bender for S.W.O.R.D. Boardman to Ireland, trying to work around Danielle Paul. Great outstretched grab by Lee Yo, but pressured by Hoban. Has to go to the reset for an unmarked Stevenson. Whitlock slowly closes in. Quick reset to Yo. Hoban's not in position to pressure it. Goes to Ireland. Back to far side for Dolan. Ireland and Yo with a big laser beam. Looking for Kate Charlesworth. Has she got the reach? It's not going to come away. Maybe needed to holster that for another half second to give Charlesworth the time to run that one down. She had the separation from Pickering, but the throw, the connection just wasn't there. Huripari to take possession. A long field ahead of them, but they might be able to walk themselves one away from a victory. Whitlock with the range, finds Paul on the near sideline, unmarked as Ireland slowly closes the trap. Stevenson pressuring the reset. Whitlock manages to get free and get it anyway. Puts a big high blade to the midfield. Finds Hoban. Pickering all alone. Bounces one back to Hoban. To Swanson near sideline. Boardman and Yo on the pressure defense, but Hoban's able to get one to Whitlock. Near side, big bladey forehand looking for Swanson in the deep space. He's got the read and the score. Huripari one away from a win. Only one defensive break necessary to close this game out right here. S.W.O.R.D need a hold, and then 11 back-to-back defensive breaks, or 10 back-to-back defensive breaks rather, to walk away with the win. Slightly overthrown Kate Charlesworth. She had the separation. An impressive receiver under any circumstances, but the connection just wasn't there this morning. And so the 7 players take the line for what might be the last time in this match for Huripari. Swanson, Reisner, Hoban, McAdam, O'Connor, Neil, and Aston. Nick Whitlock providing some last-minute emotional support. Coach Charles Patterson leaving the field to leave his 7 players on for this necessary point to keep them in the game. A huge 10-point deficit, almost unheard of for an MDC team to be on the lower end of such a deficit. Mace, Stewart, Crosby, Sun, Gibson, Swinson. Yo underneath it, huge pull, and the defense slowly closes the trap. Owen Sun looking to move deep. Bender pressured by Reisner. Mace pressured by O'Connor. Able to get the reset. McAdam with the intercept. Can he close it out here? Yes, he can. That is our 15th point of the game. A huge steal by McAdam, number 21 for Huripari. Quick offload to O'Connor for the score. What a fantastic play. What a fantastic set of players just before the close of the 65th minute. That is the end of our game, the first stream game of the second day of the 2022 Division 1 Mixed Ultimate Championships here in sunny Christchurch. What a thriller. My name, as always, is Blair Monroe, proudly supported by Auckland Euphoria and also the team here at ULTI.TV. Head on over to patreon.com/ULTI.TV if you like what you see. Your help, your donations, your spare change help us bring you the very best in ultimate coverage here in New Zealand, Australia, and around the world. Until the next one, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Hartlinger and Falcon. Fantastic run by Julia Love.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
And subscribe ULTI.TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo! If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of ULTI.TV.
Regardez ULTI.TV. Deviens un membre d'ULTI.TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Top ULTI.TV. Dale-me y roginki-me Ultimate vendromene.
Si quieres ayudar a ULTI.TV, puedes ser miembro de ULTI.TV.
Everyone, follow ULTI.TV on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love Frisbee, just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på ULTI.TV.
Became member of ULTI.TV. Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec ULTI.TV.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and new stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.